Some of you are here where some are like, I really wanted to watch more about Afghanistan. I'm a little irritated. A huge waste of resources. Putting planes out of their flight paths so that they don't run into a balloon with a 6-year-old in it. Starts to tick us off because this is a massive waste. That wasn't what those people's time or money was for. That is not right, and it's an absolute waste. And there's something inside of us that gets really ticked off when something of value gets wasted, when it's used for something that it shouldn't have been. I mean, face it, how many of you have known somebody, or heard the stories at least, saw the stories on TV of where are they now when they won the lottery? And you're like, there's a little part of you that's just a little bit indignant going, man, you should have given it to me. I wouldn't be bankrupt now like those people. That was a waste. There's something inside of us that gets really ticked off at waste. It's waste of something valuable. What about the waste of a life? You have your Bibles, Mark chapter 8, starting verse 34. Then, calling the crowd to join his disciples, he, Jesus, said this. Okay, the picture of this scene is, Jesus has just gotten done with his disciples, and he looked at them and he said, hey, who do people think that I am? And some people say you're Moses, Noah, prophet, you're this, that. Okay, who do you think that I am? Lays a question right out there. Who do you think that I am? Okay? We know what everybody else thinks, but who do you think I am? It's a moment of decision. It's a call to action right here. And Peter goes, you're the Christ. You're the Son of the living God. You are God in flesh. You're it, man. You're the Messiah. And Jesus says, yeah, you're right, man. And that is divine inspiration that told you that. And by the way, what's going to happen here is I'm going to go to Jerusalem and die. And they get a little bit irritated with him. And he says, listen up. And he turns away from his disciples. This has been a private conversation. And he goes to the crowd. And he pulls the crowd to himself. And he says this. So he's saying it not just to the disciples, but to you and to me. He says this. If any of you wants to be my follower, you must turn from your selfish ways, take up your cross, and follow me. Now this phrase here, turn from your selfish ways, is a horrible translation. Absolutely horrible. I'm not sure how to translate it well in English. But it's a word that's used to describe Peter when he betrays Christ. It's the, no, I don't know you. I don't want anything to do with you. I want to be cut off from you. Bleep, 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 see you. So I went on the internet and I typed in betrayal stories, because I do my research on the internet. I mean, we used to have to go to the library and look at books, but not anymore. So I typed in betrayal stories, and I came up with this website of betrayal stories. It was fantastic. It's a forum of discussion, and this lady tells a story of betrayal. This is her story of betrayal. She says, I was married for quite a while to this guy. And the marriage went stale. So I went online, and I started a relationship with another guy. She lived in South Africa, he lived in London. She figured, it's safe. It's a long distance away. So they start talking, and they're just friends, but it fills this part of her that's really wonderful, because she has this friend, and it's a dynamic, wonderful relationship, and they're talking, until finally he types, I love you. And a moment of truth comes for her. Where is this relationship going? And she writes back, I love you. And the relationship takes off to another level as emotionally they're connecting. This is called an affair, which is a funny word to use for emotional adultery. Because affairs are spectacular affairs of state, prom, those are all affairs. This is called adultery. So finally, he says, we should meet. She has family in London, so she decides she's going to fly. She justifies it to herself, saying, well, I'm going to see my family. She flies to go see him. They plan a rendezvous on the middle of a bridge at such and such a time of day after she flies in. She flies in, she goes to the bridge, she stands there. Bunch of people. One guy walks by, catches her eye, looks her in the eye, and then keeps walking. Other than that, people just walk on by. And she is absolutely incensed, angry that this man has betrayed her and didn't show up. And I'm thinking, really now? The betrayal started a long time ago. What about your husband sitting in South Africa thinking you're going to see family? That's betrayal. That captures the essence of this word. We're going to put it back up on the screen. If any of you wants to be my follower, you must turn from your selfish ways. You must betray even yourself. You must say, I'm cutting ties off with the priorities that I thought were important, the things that I held on to. It doesn't matter anymore. I'm going to turn from all that, and then I'm going to take up an instrument of torture and death and follow Jesus no matter